It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Breakfast as we talk property news every day, 7 days a week, as heard on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts and Amazon. And the middle of the working week is here. It's a Wednesday, May the 15th. And if you are currently in the process of saving to buy, we know that that is not an easy process in 2024. If you are living in Sydney, my goodness, it is so much more difficult. In Sydney, the price disparity too between houses and units has hit a record high. The difference, this is the price gap between the houses and the units, is at the moment $821,000. This is more than double than what it was in the late 1990s, presenting a significant challenge for aspiring first home buyers. I mean, the pandemic, we know that the pandemic exacerbated this chasm between the two, and it's fueled, of course, by the surge in house prices amidst remote work trends as well. But we're going to be catching up with Rishi this morning, and good morning to you, Rishi. You have felt the pain firsthand with this.
Good morning. Yes, absolutely. It's been a bit of a crazy journey since arriving from the UK, but yeah, the house prices are crazy in Sydney, and obviously unit prices are much cheaper, but I think everyone at the end of the day, like I've got a family of four, we wanted to buy a house, so we got a townhouse in the end, but yeah, the house prices are crazy compared to the unit prices as well.
Now, you were saying, I think you've been here, 7 years, and it took you a number of years to save for your deposit. So just talk through all of that.
Yeah, so I've been here 8 years now. So the first few years we were just enjoying ourselves, just me and my wife. And now it took about 5-6 years, I guess, to save a good deposit for the townhouse that we just bought.
And how much was the factor of the pandemic? I guess that just drove a wedge right through your plans, did it?
Yeah, so look, we were looking around that time, potentially for an investment actually at that point, and we were speaking to Raj and Equilibrium Finance at that point. I think that time the pandemic didn't help, I guess, and that kind of slowed the process down. Then once everything kind of cleared up as such, we started obviously hunting again, I guess, for a house.
And when did you finally buy?
We literally bought about a month ago, so we've just recently moved into our townhouse.
Oh, how good is that? How good?
It's great, yeah. It's still lots to unpack and whatnot, but yeah, at least we feel a bit more settled that it's our own property now, and yeah, we can go with it now.
And are you sort of looking at long term? You know, many people in the Sydney market, they buy and they just sit for a decade. Are you planning on just doing exactly that?
Next 5 years, definitely want to stay here, stay put, and then potentially look to get, because I've got 2 young boys as well, so look to potentially get a bigger place if we can. If not, we'll get an investment somewhere, just try and do something else with the money. That's the plan.
Now, you have stuck it out because so many people are just not in a position to buy a Sydney property, whether it's an apartment, a unit, a townhouse, or a house. Obviously, a house is kind of out of the question for most people these days because of the median house price around that $1.6 million. But you stuck it out. So what made you sort of stick to Sydney and say, no, we will not be moved?
We were talking about it. So me and my wife were talking about potentially going to like Queensland and Brisbane because the prices are a bit cheaper up that way. But like we really enjoy Sydney. Since we've been here, we've really enjoyed it. And then my son started school this year as well. So we didn't really want to be moving him around too much. What we decided was, look, we can still stay in Sydney, but move a little bit out of where we were living previously. And we could potentially afford something. And yeah, we were grateful that we did find something.
Now, when it comes to a mortgage broker, how quickly did you engage? Because you are with Anthony Landau's Equilibrium Finance. Raj is looking after you, and we'll be talking to Raj in just a moment. But how early in the process did you engage with them?
So, funnily enough, I've known Raj for a few years now, actually, since I actually moved to Sydney. Yeah, we've always spoken about obviously homes and buying, etc. When I said to Raj, look, I'm looking to buy, let's get going with the process. And to be honest with you, it was pretty quick with these guys. They're really good, really professional. And I think we turned it around within at least 3 to 6 months.
So you were kind of thinking maybe we should have engaged a little bit earlier.
Yeah, potentially. Obviously, the other factor was the savings as well, trying to get the savings up to the right amount that we needed. But look, Raj and his team they were telling us, look, this is what we need to aim for, what kind of property you can afford. But yeah, we could have potentially done it a little bit earlier, but we just wanted to make sure we were still able to afford it.
Now, tell me this in terms of top 2 takeaways, people listening who are thinking about engaging with a mortgage broker. What are the 2 things that, were just a mental relief to either get clarity on or just firm up your position?
I think one, the mortgage broker just says it as it is kind of thing, I guess, instead of just telling lies as such. If they're confident in themselves, you'll be able to see that from them or hear that from them. And the second thing is just find someone that you know. If you know somebody through a friend that's gone through the process, it's less stressful for you. Yeah, just go from there.
And how glued were you last week to the RBA decision around that cash rate?
I'm hoping things start obviously going down slowly. It is what it is. It's better than it was.
Thank you so much for coming on this morning and sort of giving us a bit of a lay of the land. Very expensive, of course, as we've highlighted, to get into the Sydney property market. You have stuck with it, so well done. Enjoy the townhouse and enjoy Sydney for many years to come.
Thank you very much.
Remember, we are not a real estate company. We are 100% all about increasing your awareness and knowledge for buying and selling properties.
Well, did the budget deliver what you were hoping for last night? Probably not everybody is happy. And tomorrow we will take a look at the housing component. Good morning to Jody and Brent in Caloundra on the Sunshine Coast, listening to the podcast. First home buyers looking at a unit to buy very shortly. Brent said that it was Jody's birthday and that she listens to the podcast driving to work. So happy birthday, Jody, on that 28th birthday. Yes, Brent did share that as well. And if you'd like to email us, our email address is myrealestatepodcast@gmail.com. Well, new data is unveiling an elite club of suburbs boasting median house prices surpassing $2 million and even $3 million in just 3 months. Domain yesterday was reporting from New South Wales to Queensland and Victoria, these exclusive areas redefining luxury living. While Hawthorn, they say, in Brisbane dazzles with its affordability compared to Sydney and Melbourne, Sandringham in Melbourne South shines as a bit of a bridesmaid's suburb to Brighton and Hampton. Yet not all suburbs are making the cut, making the grade, with some coastal gems like Byron Bay and Noosa Heads, yes, experiencing a slight price drop, which I did find a little bit surprising.
Let's fuel your passion for property together. Join us, along with our industry experts, to help inspire and inform your next real estate decision.
And it is a Real Estate Wednesday. So that was pretty interesting, finding out from Rishi there, just deciding to, no, don't want to really go to Queensland. I want to sort of tough it out and stay in Sydney. And you heard us talking about mortgage brokers. Raj from Anthony Landau's company, Equilibria Finance, was the agent. And good morning to you, Raj.
Morning. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. So there you go. That was all sort of broken down pretty well for Rishi, and just sort of coming back to the top and sort of just highlighting the fact that the price difference now between a house and a unit or a apartment, $821,000. It's a lot. So what sort of conversations are you having at the moment with some of your clients with regard to that? They're no doubt all sort of first home buyers wanting to get into a unit or an apartment because things are so expensive.
Yeah, there's a lot of managing expectations from the get-go. We deep dive into our clients' finances from the beginning, and then off the back of that, looking at their borrowing capacity, looking at their budgeting, we will manage the individual's expectations from the outset to say this is what you were looking to buy.
All right. Well, perhaps, Rishi, you could give us 2 or 3 things that people are a little bit perhaps surprised about. You know, like a Rishi comes in to see you guys and people are surprised at maybe some of the processes that they've got to go through, some of those hurdles to become a property owner in the Sydney property market.
Well, there's always 2 things that first home owners have a surprise about. And the first one is how much deposit they actually need based on what they're looking to purchase in and around the area, along with what it's actually going to cost ongoing. So with interest rates being at a record high since, the 1990s, when people understand what the repayments look like, that's always a bit of a nasty shock. But also the upfront amount of savings that people need to buy a property in Sydney whilst people are actually renting in Sydney, it's always a bit of a tall order.
Yeah, and that is a very good point. I mean, we've talked about that a lot with Anthony, just in terms of renting. You're kind of getting hit from both directions. You've got the high rental market, and then on top of that, you're trying to save.
Yeah, it's a vicious circle. And that's where we speak to our clients about how that looks like to them. So if the repayments are way out of their budgets, then we have to manage their expectations to be like, are you in a house? Are you in a unit? Or actually, do you have to leave Sydney?
Yes, it is a circle of doom for a lot of people trying to raise the finance to get into property ownership in Sydney. Raj, thank you very much for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast this morning. Good luck with your clients moving forward in the Sydney property market.
Thank you very much.
Don't navigate the real estate market alone. Let us help guide you in the world of real estate every day. Make better informed decisions with the latest news and insights.
Yeah, good morning, Craig.
You obviously survived the marriage.
Yeah, it's a bit of a coincidence. It's been 54 years married last week, so we've done a lot of things together, a few houses. The 4 years was sort of from a rough sketch on a notepad. The build itself was 18 months from the time we got the building permit to the occupancies.
The property has been called a log home. So tell us a little bit about the design just in terms of the aesthetic and what you went for.
Well, when the architect came up, they found a fallen tree and I said, I really want you to go out there. I know what I want inside, but I don't know what I want outside. So they came back and said, oh, maybe we've gone too far. And I said, well, what's too far? And they showed us this design of what looked like a fallen log. It was black, but all I could think of was, could I live in a black house? But as time's gone on, you don't notice it. It's just blended into the bush now.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.